Well, hello there. And this is the day that the Lord has made, and we should rejoice and be glad in it. And I'm certainly glad to be just on tonight. I was trying to get on stream, but unfortunately, stream was not working that well. And, we have those technical difficulties every now and then. So, what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to go ahead and present what I was going to talk about tonight, and that was really has to do with a video that I saw on Facebook that deals with the topic of the flat earth. And there was a woman who went into the school board during a session when the school board was in session and approached them about the flat earth. Now, I realize that people have done this before when it comes down to other issues, particularly sexual issues, dealing with children and exposing them to information about sex too soon, or either dealing with issues having to do with evolution. But this woman seems to have opened up a brand new debate that has I've never heard anybody doing it. Now, this video has been out for several months now, so it's not anything that's brand new, but it is something that I did want to bring to your attention because there are a lot of times we don't get to see things, unless, somebody brings it to your attention. So I wanted to talk about it because this woman, again, she walks in and she's probably within her maybe around 60, 63 or so. We don't get to see her face, but we do get to see the faces of the board members as she begins to open up about the flat earth. And it really seems like she's a quack and that she doesn't know what she's talking about. But really what's happening is that people now who are waking up are now getting bolder and braver to speak out against the behemoth of misinformation that's out there when it comes down to the nature of the earth, geography, and everything else that we think is true. Even our medical industry today, I'm sure that many, many years from now, some of the things that we thought were good for people or good medical procedures to have will seem barbaric in the future when it comes down to understanding the anatomy of the body. So this is very true when it comes down to understanding the nature of the earth. The earth is not a sphere, but we believe that it is. And this paradigm, this understanding of the earth has to change. It really does have to change. And there's a revolution happening in our world right now. And what we have to do is be aware of this revolution and embrace it. Now, again, if you don't embrace it, you're going to be on the wrong side of history because history always self-corrects. It always corrects itself and tells the story after the people have made, the masses have made the error. And for instance, when the Christians were being persecuted, this was a massive mistake to persecute Christians, but you had whole Roman Colosseums with thousands and thousands of people persecuting Christianity, when in fact Christianity was going to be one of the leading philosophies, understanding how to love humanity, how to relate to your fellow brother or sister, that will actually become so great that it will, encompass the whole world. But at that particular time when Christianity was new, people continue to ridicule it and to put it on the back burner, even persecuting Christians to that point. And this is the same thing with the flat earth. The flat earth is being persecuted, and it is new knowledge that it's old knowledge that is being revived again so that people can stand up for what's right. And these people who are doing this are in the spirit of Paul Revere and then on the spirit of all of the revolutionaries who trail blazed to a new understanding and a new era in history. So I want you to see this, and let's see if I can get it up for you. 2, 1, and there. I hope you can see it. Anyway, now this video here is showing the boardroom in which all of these people here are giving this woman 4 minutes to express her concern to the board. And she went out to the board to actually talk to them about the flat earth. Now, I don't know whether all of them know it. It seems like some of them know possibly where she's coming from. It's gonna be new to some of them. And so she's gonna drop a truth bomb on them that's just gonna blow them away. And what I want you to do is I want you to see this here.
Marilyn Felty Teed. I graduated from Methacton High School in 1973. Worcester. Okay. Yeah, and I'm back with my mother. I'm taking care of her. But I grew up in this school district from elementary on through. And 2.5 years ago, I found out something, and it was very disturbing to me. And I'm here to give you a quick overview of what that is. And I would really like to have some feedback on this because it was very shocking to me. And I think that there's something being taught in the schools that there's a huge, it could be an outright lie. So I'm here to just present this quickly. Can I do this? I can do it in the 4 minutes, which I think I have. As you can see, the banners have a lot of information on them. So here is the flat Earth map. North Pole's in the center. Antarctica goes all the way around the outside edge. This is no joking matter. This is the United Nations logo. They use the flat Earth map. All these world organizations use the flat Earth map, but they leave off Antarctica. If there is a sphere, spinning ball, then there has to be a curvature formula for how far out it goes and how far down it drops. Okay? Now, based on a 24,901 mile equator, this is the formula we came up with. And we used the Pythagorean theorem down here. You can see that, how we figured that out. And it's 8 inches times a mile squared. Now, if you'll see this picture right here, this is Chicago across 60 miles of Lake Michigan. Now, you see the numbered blocks, 71, 143, they all correspond with the 200 proofs Earth is not a spinning ball by Eric Dubay. So you can take a picture if you like, but you can see these same pictures again on that video. Okay? Except I may have added a few more in that I really like the scientific method, I added that one in there. And gravity theory over here, which is in grave question. So we have missing curvature. Properties of water, it's always flat on the top. Okay? Water never curves and it never conforms to the bottom of the container and reflects that on the top. Okay? Here's reflection. We always get the line. If it's a flat surface, you get the line. If it's a curved surface, as you can do with glossy paper at home, just curve the paper, go to a light bulb, and you'll see a curved paper only gives a spot. But this is reality. We get the line. Okay? So I'm saying that all the oceans are a flat surface. Your bathtub is flat, your swimming pools are flat, the lakes are flat, so the oceans are also flat. I had a woman said she had a master's degree in physics, and she told me the Pacific Ocean was higher than the Atlantic Ocean. I said, no, I don't think so. Water always seeks its own level. What happens down around the bottom of South America? Is it it just a raging river there? No. So we have a lot of misinformation going around, and I think it's horrible. I think there's also a law that says the public schools have to teach the truth. Okay? So I'm not here angry at you people. I'm not angry at you. I'm just saying this is information, this is real science, and we have to make sure that we're not abusing the children by lying to them. So I think lying to children is child abuse. So I am challenging you all to do this research. I've been studying this 2.5 years. Now I go out and I question people and ask them to look into it. That's what I do. Here, when you study this, okay, here's perspective. You're going to have to, 4 minutes is up? Wow. Okay, so 200 proofs. You have to study perspective. That's something that they do not teach you in school. And there's a whole lot. These books are being censored. NASA is lying to us. How does America get to be 2 different sizes? You can take a picture of this, I don't care, but there's a lot to it. And the horizon always goes to your eye level. So if you hold this out, no matter if you're up in a plane or Mount Everest, it's always at your eye level. That proves it's not curving downwards. So thank you for your time.
Okay, so I don't know what you guys possibly thought about that. I kind of thought that it was shameful that the people were so disrespectful, and that they were so nonchalant about the truth and the concern of this woman. But I believe I know why. One thing, the woman, when the woman was talking, while the woman was talking, there was a cognitive dissonance in the room. There was a disbelief in the room, and you can see it all in their faces. They were not believing it. And so since they weren't believing it, they were actually choosing to shut her down already before she even started to teach about the flat earth. The second thing is that she was giving information that was brand new to them. And so the information in the way that she shared it, although she had very good intentions, and she was really right in sharing this information, because that's what the Lord tells us to do, to expose evil. When she shared it, the way she was sharing it, it seemed to them to be nutty. And so she came off as a nut. And it's very difficult to get people to listen to you when you have no credibility in their mind. There they are sitting there, and they believe that they are smart, intelligent people. And you come with some brand new information, and we're the board members. We're the board members, and you are not. So this is basically the way they were looking at this. They were looking down their noses at this woman as if this woman was off her rocker. Even though she had the best information, she was really knowledgeable, they were taught to disbelieve anything that didn't come with a PhD or letters behind the name. And when she said that there was a woman with a master's degree, then that didn't even help, because most people are tuned and inclined to believe the people with the master's degrees and those kinds of things. They would have possibly been a little bit more moved if she had said, well, I have several PhDs who have concur with me that the earth is not the shape that we have been teaching kids, and that water does seek its own level. And then she also identified with them. But in the school district, these people have been trained in and indoctrinated in the heliocentric model, and they could not give up that idol to save their life. But even if you had to confront them in a life and death kind of situation, there would be no way that they would even give up their thoughts, even if they were faced with a life and death situation. So just looking at this whole situation, I can see that they were not going to believe it. Now, here's the thing. Many of them possibly were Christians and were believing God, but they still mix God with the world. They still mix the two together. Even though the Bible tells us, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world, because again, those who love the world are enemies of God. This is what the Bible tells us. It also tells us that do not be conformed to the ways of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's Romans chapter 12. And so these people have two different opinions. They believe God on Sunday. Possibly some of them are possibly good church-going people. They believe God's word on Sunday. Well, as far as it's concerning, as long as it doesn't touch anything that challenges their faith in science and in the globe, right? And so they believe that. But then when it comes down to believing God totally, in the book of Genesis, where God tells us that the earth is covered with a dome, there is a firmament of the earth, and that no one can leave the earth. And even though it tells us in the Bible that you cannot go past the firmament, people still believe that you can. So, trying to tell them that we live in a different reality than what NASA has told them, they're not willing to believe that, because they are stuck between the opinion of the worship of science and the worship of God. So, yeah, they are possibly maybe pseudo-Christians, but they really are not on board with this flat earth thing because they can't believe God totally, right? And even though the Bible tells us that the earth is immovable, even though the Bible tells us that it took 6 days to create the earth, and on the seventh day God rested, we still say that it took billions of years, and it fits within the round heliocentric model of the globe, fits within the heliocentric model, fits within the evolutionary paradigm. They're not going to give that up. They're not going to give up evolution. They're not going to give up any of that. And so God says this to the people when in Romans, in 1 Kings chapter 18 through 21, it says that God told the people that, how long will you be halt between two opinions? Basically, you got to believe either me or you believe Baal. And if you're going to believe Baal, then yeah, okay, believe him. But if you're going to believe God, then believe God, but you got to believe God all the way. And we live in a world now where people are held between two opinions. So this is what God did. He sent a prophet named Elijah to the people that asked them, well, how long are you going to be held between two opinions? And the large majority of the people in Israel held the opinion that Baal was a great God and that Baal could do anything, just like the large majority of people in our society believe that science is a great God and science can do anything, and God is not a great God. But Baal was not a great God, and he was a false God. And so God had to show Baal up on Mount Carmel by sending fire from heaven. And he sent Elijah to challenge the people and ask them, how long will you have two opinions? The big question is, and the big problem with most people in this country is that we have two opinions. We want to try to have our nice picket fences, white picket fences with our church steeples that are representing worship to a heliocentric model. The obelisk is on top of the church. All of that, we want to have all of that right there in our faces and worship that at those kinds of temples that accept the heliocentric model and still try to say God is God, right? How can you do that? You can't do it because it doesn't fit. And that's what God is trying to tell people. It doesn't fit. So he sends people like prophets and prophetess and people to challenge the people. These people were challenged by a modern day prophetess who walked in to the boardroom to tell them that they were going in the wrong direction. But they sat there and they ignored that woman. As a matter of fact, even the youngest people who should have been there, who should have stayed in the group, got up and left. And I thought that was very rude, So, you got to look at some of the history behind this. Take a look at this man here, Auguste Piccard. He's never taught about in the textbooks. He's never brought up, but he was the first man to ever travel up to the stratosphere, all the way up as high as man had ever been, in a tank that was like a metal tank that was taken up by a balloon. And he was taken up to the highest altitude that a man could possibly go, and in his years, even higher than the airplane. And he looks out the window of this metal silver ball, this ball or lead ball or whatever, it was taking him up into the atmosphere, all the way up in the stratosphere. And he looked all the way out and he could see the earth for the first time from a high vantage point. And he said it seemed like a flat disc with an upturned edge. Why isn't that written in the textbooks? This man, Auguste Piccard, it should have been celebrated and held, but he's not held because he did not agree with the heliocentric model. And this is the biggest cover-up that has ever been perpetrated upon the people of the entire world. So anyway, you let me know what you think about this. Like, subscribe, or don't. But remember, until next time, that Jesus is the light of the world, and the truth shall set you free.